Hello, you're welcome. You're welcome onto my channel today, and it gives me great joy to observe you are viewing this video. I'm Professor Olayinka Akanle. I'm a lecturer in the university. On this channel, I do a number of stuff, but all the stuff I do on this channel, you can easily cluster them into four. Sociology and research are very central to them. And I do videos as well on migration and relationship. You're welcome onto my channel today. Meanwhile, if you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly go ahead and click subscribe right now on your screen. Tap subscribe on your screen right now to join my family of subscribers, and so that you might be alerted every time I drop new content. Elite theory is what I want to talk about today. And this theory is very important. I love this theory a lot. In fact, I've published articles on this theory. I've taught this theory for many years because I find it very relevant. It's very relevant in terms of allocation of resources, power, influence, the dynamics of power and influence in society. This, this theory is commonly taught in political science, also in political sociology, and also is relevant in sociology of development generally. And what is this theory about, and why is it so relevant? I will start from the strength of this theory now. I will tell you what the theory is all about, the elements of the theory, the founding fathers, criticisms, and the strengths of the theory. But let me start from the strengths of this theory, so you understand why I'm teaching this theory today. This theory is very relevant because it's so vivid. It's not a very complicated theory that you find difficult to understand. It's vivid and it's widely relevant, if you like, and it's very contemporary also. It's not a classical theory. It's a more contemporary theory, and it's very relevant in building consciousness of people, especially if you look at the perspective of Cyril Mills in his Power Elite. I have a video on Cyril Mills on this channel. You might view that video on Cyril Mills as well. So, and it also draws our attention to dynamics of society, how power and influence is articulated as interlocking entities in the network of relationship. It tells us also about the critique, the critique of democracy, because usually, it's come to be seen that democracy is the best form of government, is the best form, is the best process of selecting rulers in society. But see, the elite theory is drawing our attention even to the limit of democracy. That sometimes one can even argue that democracy is highly overrated, in the sense that it may not be the cure-all. It may not be the best form of selecting leaders or rulers in society, because it essentially, ultimately, will bring power, too powerful elites that are too powerful, who are self-seeking, who are only interested in their own best interest. So it's a elite theory in a way. It's a criticism of democracy. And democracy is deeply penetrating today even from Europe. Societies that used to be communists are even drawing largely towards neoliberal democracy. And so it's good for us. It's relevant in analyzing social issues, and it's also relevant in political analysis, generally speaking. So that's why, especially in terms of building consciousness to understand power flow and power interlocking of influence across the interrelationship of individuals as they articulate resources. It also draws attention to power grab tendency, drawing our attention to even the issue of state capture. When you talk about power elite, that elite theory is drawing attention to, it's particularly talking about small group of individuals who have considered themselves as elite in society, who have the tendency, most likely have captured the state and its resources for themselves. The small. We may talk about oligarchy, but this is even more than oligarchy, so it's just small. So now, what is elite theory? Elite theory is a theory that articulates, that explains the rule of small, powerful group of individuals. A theory that explains the rule of small, powerful group of individuals in a society. Can be at macro level, that is grand level, national level, continental level, global level, and it can also be at meso level, at community level. So, or you can even build at micro level. So that means, depending on your level of analysis, this theory can be applied. And that's what I like about the theory. It's not a grand theory or a macro theory like functionalism or Marxism. I have videos on this, Marxism and functionalism, and other theories on this channel. I've been doing videos on different theories. So look, check the channel as you subscribe to the channel. So you can check for different theories on this channel. So this is not an essentially grand theory or macro theory, but it's a theory that can be used across levels of analysis, whether you're looking at it from the macro level, meso level, or micro level. So it simply means the rule of small, powerful group of individuals relevant across multiple disciplines, depending on what you want to do. And it talks about, the theory also talks about the disproportionate, small group of individuals holding disproportionate power, holding disproportionate influence on decision making in society. Also, they have huge amount of influence to control different areas of society, different institutions, politics, economy, media, including social media. And it's very common today. If you look at all the powerful people in society, all of them have social media assistants or media assistants. It's even been argued that many mainstream media houses have ruling elites. They are on the payroll of ruling elites. It's been argued in that manner. And when you see that across the world, even in United States, United Kingdom, all over, you see ruling elites having social media assistants, social media mobs, social media legions, social media warriors who attack you every time you say anything against the ruling elites. They are on their payroll. So they control the narratives. They control the perception through the media. And they shapes public opinion. They shape social interactions. They control government and democratic machineries. When you look at all the state institutions, state apparatuses, this elite put their cronies there and they are interlocked. So even if you conduct elections, sometimes multiple times, whether you use democracy or whatever, so they control the government. The ruling elite, the elite rule controls the government. And this theory is drawing attention to, directing us, encouraging us to look at the impact of the elite on the institution of society, especially in government. So you have the element, you have the power concentration. Major elements of this theory talks about power concentration in the hands of a few, influence of the elite on every sector, networks of interconnected individuals that they form, network of interconnected interests. What is common among the elite, according to elite theory, is interconnected interest that they want to protect through the control of state machineries. You also talk about strong network of interconnected relationships. They are interlocked, and they have huge impact on public policy, impact on resources. And you have another element as now you have, if you want to drag it down to the variant of Sirac Mills, you talk about the elite versus the masses. So you have the masses on one hand being oppressed by the elite, because the rule of the elite is not the rule of the majority. Even in democracy, across different democracy, what you still have is elite ruling, whether you talk about unitary system of government or federal system of government. What you have is the elite ruling and running their own show for their own best interest, not in the interest of everybody. Then you talk about lobbying and advocacy. In elite rule, according to elite theory, you have strong lobbying and advocacy groups and the tendency to socialize, sometimes even the masses, to think that the elite works for the masses, even when it's not true. And they continually recruit. Recruitment is a major element. They continually recruit people into the network of elites, depending. So they might even recruit the most vocal critic of the elite group to join their group, so they can silence opposition. What you have is also, when the elites are in government, they silence opposition, or even recruit a part of the opposition group to join the elite group, so that nobody then is able to converse against their interests. And the major criticism of the elite theory is that it oversimplifies the complex process of rulership, of government, or how leaders are selected. That is the major criticism is oversimplification. That the narrative, the argument of elite theory is oversimplified, and then there's not been enough empirical data to prove that the argument, the logic of elite theory is valid. So they say it's more of armchair theorizing than any result of serious research. So lack of empirical data to prove the claim of elite theory is a major criticism. Then there's also the argument that it tends to build pessimism, that people who believe in elite theory may tend to be pessimistic about the role of government, the role of the state in protecting common good. So that instead of optimism that people should have in their government or their state institutions, that elite theory rather put pessimism in the heart of the people. So it's just a little argument. So it depends on your own perspective. Do you believe that the theory is right based on your own experience in your country right now? Fine. Or in your society right now? Fine. Or in the community right now? Fine. Or do you believe globally this theory is saying the truth, is valid? Well, it's left to you. So, but some people believe it's not true. But if you are an elite anyway, you may not see it as true because it's advocating against your own interest. And you may think it's true if you are objective. So the founding fathers of this theory, people who have contributed significantly to this theory, you have Vilfredo Pareto. Vilfredo Pareto is at the forefront of this theory. I've done research. If you Google me online, you will see my work on Vilfredo Pareto and elite theory. So Vilfredo Pareto is a front runner of this theory. Then you have Gaetano Mosca. G. Mosca is another very prominent writer in terms of a prominent theorist in terms of elite theory. Then you also have Robert Michel. Robert Michel is another major theorist who did the framework of elite theory. Then you have Cyril Mills in his popular book, The Power Elite. The Power Elite. Cyril Mills, I have a video on Cyril Mills on this channel. So this theory for me, very relevant. I love it because for me, in my country, all over the world, even I've been following the politics of United States of America, which we see as headquarters of democracy. I've seen it not anything other than elite theory. South Africa, in many countries of the world that I've studied, that I've lived, I've seen the applicability, relevance of elite theory. Welcome to elite theory. Whether it's true or not, relevant or not, it's left to you to decide based on your own experience as a scholar. Till I see you in my next video, click subscribe and bye for now.